So you make them a bunch of money, you have them pay you 9K, and that's just that simple. What's up guys, it's Dennis back here with another video, and today I'm going to be obviously talking about what the title of this video is, which is how I closed a 9K per month client for my social media marketing agency. So in this video I'm going to run through, I'm going to run through the backstory of it, and then after I run through the backstory of it so you guys understand it, I'll go into the specifics and things that you guys can implement for being able to get the same results or even be able to get a higher client value than I did. So first I'm going to go through the backstory. So first, this guy who came to us, he was a referral. Like mainly we deal with Shopify stores, so he came to us, he had like 300 sales on his pixel. Doesn't matter if you guys don't understand that, you know, he had like 300 sales on his Facebook pixel from Instagram. Wanted to go scale on Facebook, but didn't really know how. So obviously for what we do, we obviously could help him. So we got started with him, and knowing like this, remember, we did a 2K, he had to do a 2-time payment plan for like 2K. And he only had like 4K at the time. So, you know, kind of understand that backstory. And this kid is an 18-year-old high school dropout, so you know, he had 300 sales, he wanted to go scale but didn't know how. So we obviously started out, he didn't have a bunch of money when starting out, and pretty much that's pretty much the backstory for you guys to understand. So now I'm gonna run through the steps that I took for me being able to make him so much money that he was able to pay us 9K without it really being much of a big deal at all. So before all of this, I'm not pitching any mentorship, I want to make sure you guys know that. I'm just telling you the backstory. A couple months before, I paid like $3,500 over the span of 2 months for mentorship. I'm not going to mention any names, but I paid that to be able to get my team, you know, be able to get the one-on-one help from a guy who's made a lot of money doing what we do. But at that time, I didn't even have a lot of money. Like $3,500 was like, I mean, it was very uncomfortable. I'm just going to be honest. What happened was that he taught us how to be able to scale using Facebook ads. So that's where the skill comes into play. I want to make sure you guys know that this video is not beginner friendly. Like, you need to have skills, you need to be able to prove and actually make a big ROI to be able to get paid high client value. So it takes a little bit of time. Like, I don't want you guys who are the ones getting paid 1K a month feeling bad because I was getting paid 9, because I probably have more skills than you right now. So I just want to make sure you guys are clear on that. Naturally, with his product, it started taking off pretty good. I'm gonna show a screenshot right now of what the store, you know, looked like when we first started out. Now, in the next month, I'll show you the next screenshot right here, which he did 76K in sales. It was like 30 profit. And so what you need to know is that when you make someone large amounts of money like that them paying you a large amount of money is pretty relative. It's like if you make someone 15K profit, them paying you 3 isn't really much of a big deal, right? Same thing if you make someone like 60K profit, having them pay you like 9K really isn't that big of a deal. And so when you get around numbers like that, everything is relative, right? And that's one thing, one breakthrough I feel like I had, is that pretty much that it's all relative. And them paying you 9K to 3K is really not much of a difference rather than just the money that you made them. So I'm gonna go through the practical steps now that you guys can implement to be able to get the same results that I did with getting a 9K a month client. So you wanna see with this person, he sells a $60 item. So it's kind of high ticket for like e-com, but really not that high ticket. So obviously we have to push volume. Like we push like over 100 orders a day through this guy. So, you know, but working with clients, what I would recommend for people who are starting out, people who are just trying to get going or they're trying to scale, go to people who have a high ticket business, like real estate agents, life insurance, health insurance, you know, anyone that works in the B2C niche that does high ticket, like preferably makes over $1,000 commission or profit on each sale that they make, at least. I mean, I'd more like 5 or 10 grand. So people, you know, I deal with a solar client, he makes over 5K profit per deal. So obviously being able to produce him a couple of sales a month, I'm just putting this into perspective, like when you produce someone like say like 20K a month, having them pay you 5 isn't that big of a deal. Make someone 100, it's not really that big of a deal if they pay you like 15 or 20. you want to work with someone who's high ticket. Number 2, work with an industry that you can have a financing / credit option for their customers to be able to get their expensive services for not that expensive. So, which means that when someone applies for credit, say if they're going to get a new roof, when someone applies for the credit for the roof, so the company gets paid up front, say if the roof's 25 grand, the company gets paid 25 grand, then the person would pay off that loan over a certain amount of years, so it'd probably be like a 200 to 300 a month payment. You know, obviously there's so many variables in that, but you know, I'm just putting in perspective, like they can pay monthly at a cheaper rate to be able to get an expensive service without needing to pay all that money up front. Especially if you're running ads, that's going to be a big thing. Because you can't work with someone, I mean, if you're working with someone who just only cash up front, just a more specific of a customer, that could be harder to get to rather than just being able to offer a credit option. So, and that's one thing I found is good. If you guys are doing coaching, offering credit options where someone pays you up front, you get paid up front, they pay monthly for it, great option. Number 2, you have to personally have skills running ads, doing messenger marketing like using ManyChat, doing email marketing, and be able to teach your clients how to actually sell those leads that you get them through the ads and through your marketing techniques. Big thing right there. Like you guys, okay, at least for me, I teach the clients how to close the people when they come into their ManyChat for the messenger. That's just the way we structure our ads. That they go from the ad to ManyChat to the funnel, and that's where the funnel is able to work them and be able to, you know, more qualify them as more of a qualified customer. So, but all those people who are in the ManyChat, I have to teach them how to talk to someone through Facebook Messenger, which takes, I mean, I've had like years of experience doing that. So you really have to have skills. Like this is not beginner friendly. If you are a beginner and if you do not know how to run ads, you will very unlikely get a client that's paying you 9 or 10K a month or whatever the number is, because you just don't have the skills yet, which is fine. Like when I started out, I didn't have any skills doing it. I saw Tai Lopez's thing, jumped on, and I figured it out from there. It was a pretty long process, but you know, now it's really paid off. So number 3, kind of a question I think people go back and forth with, I know I did, is doing profit sharing. Now, because profit sharing, I feel like it shows whether you can do it or not, but also it just kind of depends on what you're trying to do. With lead generation, I wouldn't recommend just going into profit sharing immediately with somebody, because you need to make sure they can actually close the leads you send them. The problem really never is you sending them leads, it's them being able to close the leads. That's where the ROI is, and that's where people have the biggest problem. That's why they can't get the ROI. So I'd recommend doing retainer, and just for the fact of like, especially if you're teaching them how to, and if they're just not making the effort to, and if you have to rely on that, that's not a good partnership. See, I do partnerships with people who are all in, they're committed, and they're ready to go. And if you have someone like that who's willing to pay, who gets paid out like 5K per sale, you could easily, you know, get paid out like 10K a month. Or if they're making about 5K profit per sale, like getting paid $1,000 from that really isn't much to ask. Especially if you're bringing them business they never had. So you really have to know your value in that. But I'd recommend going retainer first, feeling it out, and if it's good, go to profit share after you guys prove the ROI with it, you know, for both of you. And in the beginning, when you guys do start getting your clients, you want to go deep with your client base. No, trust me. You don't want to scale outwards immediately. Like, trust me on that. Don't scale outwards immediately. Get a couple clients, go deep with them, figure out how you need to improve first before you go and get like 50 clients. Like figure out, or 100 clients or whatever the number is. Figure out your process first with a couple. Make sure you have a couple though. You want to be able to test out certain things and just be able to have more action going throughout the day. So I recommend having 5, you know, I would say 5 or 10 is a good number to be able just to always have something to do, always be, you know, creating something for them. But you go deep with your client base, because if you get them really big results like what we did with our agency, now we have a bunch of testimonials. I can use those testimonials forever. It's like those testimonials have made me like thousands of dollars a month. Just by taking the time in the beginning and having a team set up where we get the results first and we go deep with them rather than scaling outwards in the beginning. Because having those testimonials, now I can go scale hours. Now I have the processes to be able to outsource to people who know what to do. They've been trained right and everything, so when I send them a bunch of clients, they'll be able to handle it because we took time in the beginning to figure it out, and now we can scale. And now we're starting to scale. So you guys just have to, don't be antsy with it. Yeah. So number 5, don't be afraid of doing trials. Now, it has to be positioned right though. It can't be positioned as like a really low value thing, like, you know, you just trying to prove what you can do, which in an instant is what it is, but at the end of the day, the way I position my trials is that with depending on the person. Now, I'll position a trial if I find that's the right way to do it, is like someone who's willing to pay. So I was on the phone with a solar client, and right, he makes 5K per sale. So right now we're starting out the trial where, you know, here, let me go back a couple steps. When I first talked to him on the phone, and we were talking on the phone about it, pretty much I told him that we'll be able to do this, and if we make you a couple of sales and we prove the ROI, we charge 5K per month, and obviously we'll go deeper. And he understands that it takes time, and it's gonna take a few months. So, but at that call, I told him that's 5K a month, so, and he was fine with it. Honestly, I could have closed him on the spot, but I'm starting to build this other relationship with a new referral partner, so I didn't feel like it was the right time. But now we have a client who literally agreed to paying 5K. We're in the process of doing it now, and it's a solid deal. So that's the position you want into trials, where someone knows your price, they know at the end of the trial they're gonna need to pay, or if they don't want to pay, obviously what was the issue why they are not paying, if you didn't make them an ROI, or if, you know, for some reason. So the next part, number 6, is look at long-term client values rather than short-term. Trust me, like even with 1K a month client, you're making 12 grand a year off of one client. Now, obviously if you start scaling to like 3K a month, 5K a month, if you have 10 clients, obviously you get, you know, those in revolving around a month, that's like 50K a month. In the span of a year, that's like 60K a year per client. You have like 10 of those, that's like 600 grand a year. So, and that can be done through going deep with the client, being able to show your ROI, having them agree to paying you a high price because you're bringing them a lot of money that they wouldn't have had before if you weren't there with them. That's how I mean, I know if I can go into a business, I can guarantee myself money going to a couple of businesses, going deep with them, being able to close them on more higher ticket services. So when I look at client values, like you can make a span of like, even with a 3K a month client, that's 24 grand a year. Depending on what your margins are, but still it's like 24 grand a year in sales. Like it's and then, so you have to look at that rather than looking at, oh, it's only 3K a month, because it really opens up your mindset and makes you want to go long term with it rather than just trying to get short term money. So that's what I would recommend for you guys. So if you guys got value from this, make sure you subscribe below. Comment if you have any questions. I'll be sure to respond back. And yeah, I'll be sure to see you guys tomorrow. So see you in the next video.